Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
This show's brought to you by jasonhartman.com. When it comes to investing, you need a balanced portfolio: gold, silver, and real estate. Jason is a master at helping you build a real estate portfolio that throws off positive cash flow, gives you incredible tax benefits, and a high return on investment. Go to jasonhartman.com. That's Jason, Hartman.com. You are listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL, and it's time to catch up with Diana Zoppa. Hello, Diana.
Hi, Kerry. Good morning to you.
Well, we're in afternoon here on the East Coast, but hey, one thing I've learned from doing this show is I always have to ask everybody what time zone they're in, because I can't tell you how many times we have messed up getting the wrong time zone. Now it's just second nature. We do it all the time, but it's important because you're in a global world. I could be talking to somebody in Australia or in South Africa or Europe, you name it, any place. So got to keep track of the time zones.
Okay, well, it's 10:01 Pacific Standard Time in Vancouver today.
And it's 1:03 Eastern Standard Time in Florida. And what's going on there?
Oh, it's just was a busy weekend. We had, it was the Canadian long weekend last weekend, which Victoria Day on Monday, which relates to Queen Victoria's birthday. They made a holiday out of it, right? So we get a long weekend. You guys had yours. Yeah. Yours is coming up.
Yep, it's coming up this weekend. We get a 3-day weekend. I got to work tomorrow, but I'm going to hang out a little bit. Then I got a meeting Saturday, some radio stuff that I want to try to do to really get the word out to a lot of people. And then, just kind of hang out with the family, get some sun. It's an incredibly gorgeous day here today. I'm sure it's raining in Vancouver.
It's actually not. It says it's supposed to be, but it's beautiful and sunny. In fact, I uploaded a Facebook picture today, which I already had about 20 likes on it, which is so great because I go down to the dog park. I had to drive across. I took Sean to the office today, and anyway, so went down and came back, took Huey for a big walk in the dog park, and there's one of the nicest dog parks in the world, I'm sure of it. It's right on the ocean by the Lionsgate Bridge. So it's always very photogenic first thing in the morning with the sun coming up, and the eagles are flapping around. We saw a seal this morning and herons, and there's
no clouds, man.
No clouds.
Normally you could just say it's going to rain in Vancouver, and you're right. You really don't have to change the forecast. And the one time I was there, it poured the whole time, poured when I was landing. And then the first day when I was there, in the afternoon, it cleared up. Bright blue skies. It was a gorgeous day. And then it rained the rest of the time. So that's that.
The thing here, it's a rainforest, but where we live, west and on the North Shore, basically, we have the mountains are right at our back. And it captures all the weather patterns. If you go down south, little closer to the border, about, 40 kilometers, which would be White Rock and Delta and those areas, they tend to get a lot more sun. Just because they just do not have the mountains obstructing with the patterns. So it's, but we love it up here. It's beautiful views and, very, very nice. You're going to have to come up for a visit one of these times.
I'm going to one of these days. And so in the meantime, we've been busy getting the Liberty Mastermind Symposium set up. We've got a lot of signups already, a lot of people coming. 15 speakers. It's going to really be chock full. We're also having Silver Summit, the Silver Circle guys showing the Silver Circle movie.
It's finished now, that movie?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's been done for a while. And I caught most of it in Spokane, and it was really quite well done. I was pleasantly surprised. Animated movie, but don't hold that against it. It was really, really good.
It reminded me of sort of a dark, kind of like Rin Tin Tin or Tintin, whatever his name is. There's a cartoon character that's kind of like got the same sort of format.
Yeah.
Tintin, I think it is.
I don't know that one. I haven't been much of a cartoon fan over the past however many years, but yeah, it's going to be good. So you want to sign up, libertymastermind.us, libertymastermind.us, and save up now. Sign up now, you save $50, and we're going to have our silver drawing there, giving out 10 ounces of silver. So it'll be a lot of fun, and hope we see you there. So you got some ways to save me some money. Oh, first, gold and silver. They've been gyrating. Yeah, gyrating back and forth, the metals. You've been watching the action there?
I have. It's up today, I see. And, well, there's all, what are the reasons in your mind?
Probably manipulation.
Yeah.
Because it was up like $19 yesterday morning when I woke up. Then in the afternoon, it was down $19. And I just said, if I didn't have my job, I wouldn't be watching it at all. I would just be ignoring it because it's irrelevant. Only if you want to buy or sell, but otherwise it's totally irrelevant. But the dollar's been on a tear.
Yeah.
Dollar's down today.
Yes,
I think the dollar will keep going up. I mean, you saw the Japanese stock market get mauled last night, down 7.3%, which just shows that you cannot debase yourself, your economy, to prosperity. Cannot be done. It never has been done, and it never will. But that certainly won't stop humanity from trying.
Oh, yeah, that's the regular routine, right? So, but I mean, I guess, just what I've been reading, they're expecting silver to go a little bit further, which will be like in the, 50 to 60% falls from $49 at a high 23 months ago. So, but I think what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to buy any at those rates. It's going to be sold, if you can find bullion, then buy it. But I think a lot of it's being snapped up at these rates. It's, back to the manipulation.
Yeah, it's going from weak hands to strong. People that are nervous, jumpy about it. But, everybody I talked to, Martin Armstrong and so many others, who is it? Charles Nenner and charlesnenner.com. Pretty much mid-June is probably the bottom, and then we begin a steady, gradual ascent upwards to 2,200 is the best guess I heard. Whether it's true or not, I can't say, man. I'm not the timer. Usually timing doesn't work out well for me, so I just buy when I'm ready to buy and spread it out over time. Well, and silver, the entire world is out of silver for the first time in human history, according to my Roger Mason here. He's, basing that, Hong Kong Precious Metals Exchange settled in cash and closed down. They have no physical metal. The mines aren't keeping up, even though, Sean's Golden Arrow, they had as he said yesterday, they've had an enormous find, and, they can't even get they're not getting bids up, right? Because basically nobody's interested in the stock market anymore. Hey, what did Warren Buffett say? When there's blood in the streets, you better be buying. And when everybody's thrilled and happy and content, you better be selling. And that's what's kind of happening in the broader market, in the Dow. Yeah. And I guess to a lesser extent, your Toronto exchange. But in the U.S., looking at the NASDAQ and the Dow, man, they're like, forget it.
Yeah.
Happy days are here again.
Yeah.
And one good thing in New Jersey, they managed to get the boardwalks repaired in all the Jersey Shore communities. Governor Chris Christie, he's down there now. He doesn't look thinner, though, since he had the weight loss band wrapped around his stomach, but I guess that takes time. And he's out there doing his PR tour because he's running again for governor of the Garden State where I was born. So, but hey, it's hurricane season's right around the corner, and they might have to rebuild them next year. Who the heck knows? That's why I keep telling people, and I've been doing preparedness shows, emergency preparedness shows, Diana, because hurricane season starts in June.
Yeah. Well, we've already seen one big hurricane, the biggest one I've ever seen, 2 miles wide.
Yeah. And those tornadoes. Yeah. The tornadoes slamming people
Tornadoes
in Oklahoma. Well, you can have a hurricane that winds up spurring a bunch of tornadoes, not unusual. And the season starts in June. You got to stock up on emergency preparedness food here, because I don't care what part of the country, the world you live in, you can have disruptions, supply disruptions. There's only 3 days worth of food in the supermarkets. And once a potential threat emerges, that 3-day supply of food in the grocery store is gone. The shelves are stripped bare, and you can't even find bacon bits or unhealthy food snacks. It doesn't matter. So if you got the stuff saved up, it's in the tub, you got to leave your house, you bring the thing with you. I mean, it just makes so much sense. I don't know why you won't do it, why everyone isn't doing it. It's just, you got to do it.
Yeah. You have a duffel bag in your car or something like that?
Yeah, I've got a bug out bag, as they call it. And, I've got some stuff in it. And it's just really, really important that you do this, because, when you need this stuff, it's too late. Just like, when you need a cop, you can never find one. When you need a gun, it's too late to go get one. And when you need that emergency preparedness food, it's too late. So you need to be saving some water up to multiple gallons, 10, 20 gallons, depending how long you want to prepare for. And I just can't emphasize it enough. So that's why I tell you, go to PrepareWise, use the code Lutz. They give you free shipping, and they got other deals depending on the size. The thing that I'm encouraging you to get now is, it's called a 183 mega sample pack, 183 meal mega sample pack. It's $250 or $60 for 183 meals. And, it's not going to be like dining at the Palm, but, it's going to keep you alive,
sustained.
right? And it's going to give you 2,000 calories a day, which is what you need. So get it. So speaking of staying alive, as the tune goes, how we saving some money? I've got a couple of unique ways of doing it, but I'll let you go first.
Well, just further to that discussion about keeping in, your survival mode, I have bags of dried beans, dried rice, in different packets that I've kind of put away with a bunch of canned things, right? So I rotate them around. If I look at them once every 6 months or something like that, just keep them fresh and then utilize them. That's for my survival package. With regards to saving money and stuff, talking about, we're talking about vacations today in my mind, because we're in the process of making a couple of trips. So one of the things for saving, of course, is, rethinking, typical vacations and doing things such as home swapping. Being able to decide on a city that you want to go online, find a place, where you can possibly find someone to swap your home. Have you ever done that or heard of it?
I haven't swapped my home, but I do know about it. You'll see people looking to do home swaps on Craigslist. And, as long as you vet the people who you're swapping homes with pretty carefully, it would make a lot of sense, because you save, depending where you go, it could be thousands of dollars that you're saving. And, the other alternative is, even if you can't swap your home out, is to rent it out. I wanted to mention that New York City passed a law against doing all this stuff, like Airbnb. Let me just find it. Leave it to the city to be a buzzkill, and they can fine you $25,000.
Airbnb, that's what it's called?
Yeah, well, that's the website, Airbnb, as in bed and breakfast. And a judge ruled that renting apartments, this is May 22nd, a judge ruled that a New Yorker who rented his apartment on a popular travel site broke the law. East Village condo owner ordered to pay $2,400 penalty for subletting his apartment to a Russian tourist in December on the Airbnb website. And The judge says he broke the law because he rented it for fewer than 30 days and wasn't home while the tourist occupied it. And, leave
isn't
it.
that the idea?
Yeah, well.
That you're away when they're there?
Stupid guy. But, this is just wrong. It's another restriction, unreasonable one, put on your property. And I guess the condo association had a rule against that. They don't want strangers coming and going. But look, come on. This is a reasonable way. They'd rather have the guy default than go into foreclosure and not pay his common charges. So anyway, but house swapping, great idea. You can find people all over the place who'll do it. Obviously, if you don't live in a place where people want to be, it will be tougher. But wherever you are, even if you're in Detroit, somebody wants to be there at some time for whatever reason, and give it a shot. I mean, Craigslist is perfect for that. Just do a public records search and find out what the deal is. Make sure the people aren't axe murderers, serial killers, and otherwise undesirable, right?
I guess so. Well, that's one way. But anyway, rethinking the vacation. So the other factor is, going on your vacation on off times instead of traveling on weekends. If you're going to, say you're taking 2 weeks, maybe you're going flying on a Monday to a Monday or a Tuesday to a Tuesday instead of Thursday, Friday, over those kind of things. You can save a lot of money on flights if you do that.
That's a great point. And do you know what the cheapest day of the week is to book airfare online? Tuesday. You got it. Hey, not many people know that. That's pretty, you're on the ball with these things, Diana, because I don't know why.
My research.
Nobody knows why. It just is. That's the way it works. And obviously, the longer in advance you book your flights, the less expensive generally the tickets will be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would make Tuesday is an interesting day for a lot of things. It's the best day to send press releases. It's people they've come from the weekend, they've settled into Monday. Tuesday, their focus is there, so they're paying attention. So now, you've gotten here one day out of the week. Oh, am I going away this weekend? Maybe I should take a look at where I'm going this weekend or the weekend after. Or do you know what I mean? So there's people's attentions are really in the office or in where they're thinking that they're going on Tuesday. So that tends to be the philosophy behind that. The other factor is with the airfares, and if they have additional seating available for the weekend that's coming up, they often tend to sort of blow out pricing, and it depends where you go, right? Those airlines that are like Allegiant, that is just in Bellingham here, just south of Vancouver. I mean, if you're paying attention to that, you can't fly every day of the week to certain locations, but if you're paying attention, I mean, you can fly to Vegas for $49. The flight costs less than what they charge you for your bag. They charge you $50 to send your bag, okay?
So it makes sense to buy a seat for your bag and just bring it on the plane.
There you go.
Then you don't have to wait for the damn thing to come off, and they take an hour because they're all union. Well, I won't get into that, but anyway, makes total sense. So my deal is, okay, if you have a tradable skill, plumber, electrician, carpenter, painter, whatever, restaurants will barter. Restaurants love to barter, and I found this out because a guy who owned a cigar shop, cigar bar, nearby where I live, he closed up, and he had fixtures and tables and chairs and silverware and glassware. So he went to this well-known, popular Italian place, and he wound up giving the guy a whole bunch of stuff, and he got a big gift card, prepaid debit card for the restaurant, like a couple $1,000, and a light went off in my head. Is anything you could barter with a restaurant, they'd rather pay in food because their food costs, the actual food cost is somewhere between 20 to 40%, depending what kind of restaurant it is. So they can effectively buy goods and services at an 60 to 80% discount. So any restaurant will barter with you if you provide a quality service that they can pay with in trade. So that's something you want to consider for sure. And another one is restaurant.com. If you like the restaurant, you can find a good deal. We mentioned the Groupons, Living Social. before you go out to a restaurant, go look. I mean, why not? It totally makes sense.
Yeah, and see if they're offering any discounts. Absolutely. Why not? I mean, it only takes 2 seconds. And even if you're on your phone, you can check them by your phone as well, which you'd mentioned that once before, right? But back to the bartering with the restaurants. Back in the 80s, Sean and I owned a couple of restaurants and were shareholders in a couple of restaurants. And one of the bigger restaurants that we had control of, basically, was, we used to barter with a lot of the advertising firms, the big, like Vancouver Magazine and different magazines and stuff. And so we would purchase advertising in exchange for give them gift certificates, and then they would distribute them to their clients. And
Neat.
it was a great way for us to, because advertising back in the 80s was a lot of money, right? And so it made
you didn't
sense.
have Google.
You didn't have Google, so you had to find ways. You had print magazines primarily. And so anyways, we used to do a lot of barter. And in fact, they called it Contra, C-O-N-T-R-A.
Yeah, sure. I remember
Contra.
that.
And so it was very, very popular. And of course, in the 80s, it was a big thing. Then in the 90s, when business started to pick up, I can remember some of the partners going, okay, stop the Contra. That's enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough free meals here.
Yeah, enough free meals, because then, it really starts to wear on your bottom line. You can
Sure.
give that out. Tradespeople and, but definitely anything that you can trade. It's, as we've talked about before, money is just what two entities deem to be transactable, right? So,
Yeah.
if it's a service for advertising, then fantastic, or trade for food, that works. It's you're going to see a lot more of that coming up, I think, because I shouldn't, of course, there's tax breaks to that as well, right?
Yeah, well, in the U.S., theoretically, it's a payment in kind. You're
Yes.
supposed to pay taxes on it, but you have to value it, and you get into a whole thing. And how do you value plumbing service anyway? So you got to report some of it and always obey the law. Because you don't want to get caught up with this. But, these Groupons, these restaurant coupons are really phenomenal. Use them whenever you can get them. Just this weekend, I went to the Miami Seaquarium and took a couple of friends. So I went, before I went there, I went online and looked up coupons. And I found a 30% off coupon. So we saved over $35 for the three of us. And, you can just do that anytime you're going any place and you're going to have to pay admission, do it. Yeah. And makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. That's a good habit. Definitely. So one of the other things with my vacations is, okay, so you're planning a vacation, you have a couple weeks off, sometimes, taking the whole family on the plane, going someplace. You can spend anywhere from, 500. In the U.S., you have a little bit less flight pricing, right? You can fly into state around the States for a lot less than we do around here.
Sure.
Around here, you can fly from BC to Alberta, it still cost you $500 or $600, depending on when you're going. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I was, being either being a tourist in your own city or being a tourist in your own province or state. And, maybe picking places closer to home where you could drive. And then, you can spend more money on a nicer hotel if you want to go that route, or the money that you save, you do something special that you wouldn't normally do, right?
Sure.
But, learning to, how many people spend time in their own state or province, instead of always, we're going to go to Europe. Okay, forget that. Let's just, plan and go someplace in the lower mainland or around BC. You can go to the island, you can go down to the Okanagan, you can go up island, you can go, there's fishing trips, you can go up to Tofino. There's so many great places that are within a 2, 3, 4 hour drive or 5, 6 hour drive that make sense for vacation spots.
Yeah, that definitely makes a load of sense. And there's things you haven't done right by your house.
Right by your house.
The typical New Yorker has never been to the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building or the cloisters. Just doing one of these staycations, you get to see a lot of sights and experience things that you wouldn't otherwise do. And go on the internet, find all of those things. Like, for instance, in Connecticut, which is not too far from where I lived, they had the Barnum Museum. They had the Eli Whitney Museum. They had a bunch of like subway trolley museums in the state. They had like scores of museums that you would never think of going to that are really cool. In New Jersey, like the Thomas Alva Edison Museum, his workshop in Orange, New Jersey. There's so many of these things. There's one I've been dying to go to since I moved down here to Florida, and I have no excuse for not doing it, called the Flagler Museum. He was one of the founders of Standard Oil of New Jersey, I guess it was. And he basically single-handedly developed Florida, built railroad down here, built the Breakers Hotel, built so many places here, and, led to the development of Miami and all over the place. And his house is like a huge mansion. It's worth seeing. It's got, major works of art and furniture, and it's like from the Gilded Age. So there's so many of those things that you could do. You don't have to like hop on a plane and go someplace or stay in a hotel, or, if you can't trade your place for somebody else's, then stay home and really pick up the culture that you probably, if you're like me, have ignored for all these years.
Well, and, we had some friends that came to the city just last summer, say, and, we spent 2 days just doing tours things with them, right? And booking the bus and going out and seeing the sights. I mean, it's just doing crazy things around the city that you would not normally do. I mean, when you have kids, you tend to go out and be a little bit more adventurous. But as you get older, you might not go take in the sights that are available to you. In Vancouver, you can get on the bus around here. There's about, thousands of things to do around here. I mean, you can go skiing in the morning and golfing in the afternoon, or sailing. I mean, hiking. It's, there's just so many recreational outlets in Vancouver that you can, take part in. It's a good city to live in. Everyone needs to, I think everyone should come and visit Vancouver, actually.
It is a great place. I really loved it when I came up and, met with you guys. And at that conference, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And, there's always things to do. And, in keeping with living beneath your means, it's something you really should think about. And on that note, Diana, we have our time to consider.
Yes.
So financialsurvivalnetwork.com, and we will talk to you next week.
We will talk to you next week, and good luck. And maybe send me your link for your conference so that I can post it and send it out to a few people.
You got it. Will do.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Kerry.
This show is brought to you by jasonhartman.com. I'm looking into real estate investing now. Probably not a bad idea for you as well. Go to jasonhartman.com, Jason, Hartman.com, and tell him Kerry sent you.